All right, so let's talk about the the cost other than money when it comes to procrastinating, specifically in business. What I'm going to share with you this morning can most certainly apply to really anything. I mean, honestly, I think about it even as I'm beginning this conversation. It's like me with my weight loss, right? So I'm down like I don't know, 210 to 173, 37 pounds, and since May. Um, I did a live last week talking about this. I think the title was like, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm over it, whatever. And it actually took me just getting sick of it and telling myself over and over again. That's actually a good segue. And by the way, I never have notes for these things. I just have a thought process. So if I bounce around a little bit, bear with me. But for probably the last I don't know, I don't know, 8 years here, 5 years in Scottsdale, at least the last 12 years, I've wanted to like change my body to just get rid of the body fat in my gut, my back fat, whatever. And I have like tons and tons of these before pictures. And, it's like, when am I going to start? And I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And so this is why I said like the example of procrastinating in business can be used anywhere. So like me continuing to put it off, like, okay, what's the cost? Well, the cost is I'm not losing weight, right? I'm still, looking at myself in the mirror and looking at myself shirtless, which I'd probably never take my shirt off hardly in public. And it's not just the cost of weight loss, but it's the cost of like my own like self-worth, right? And it's the cost of relationships, like even, not necessarily in my case, like, it's damaged the relationship with my spouse or anything like that. But like I like if I brought her in here right now, I told her, I said, we were talking yesterday and I was like, yeah, no wife is probably going to say, man, you're freaking fat. You need to lose some weight. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to say you need to lose weight, dude. You're like, I look at you and I'm like, no, it's not working for me. Most, because they have a heart, right? They're not going to tell you that. But ideally, they're like, hey, this isn't what I married. I didn't, people have like a physical attraction to somebody. And if, you're thin when you meet and then somebody gains, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds and you're looking at them and you're like, that's not attractive to me anymore. So, and I know that's, I don't know, you can call that shallow, whatever, but I mean, there's something to be said about physical attraction. And so it's the cost of procrastinating and putting things off, whether it's weight loss, getting in shape, healing a broken relationship with a father that you haven't talked to in 10 years or something like that, is not just the fact that, okay, I'm not making money or I'm not losing weight or I'm not, I'm not talking to my dad or whatever it is. It's, it weighs on you in different ways. So, it weighs on you from a self-worth issue. It's like, man, am I even capable of doing this? Will I ever be able to do this? Like, man, I'm worthless, or whatever thoughts go on in your mind. And then let me take it real quick into business, because I know most people follow me for business, not for, weight loss. I guarantee you nobody follows me for weight loss advice. Okay. So let's get that straight. But, so for business, right? So people get into business and then they put stuff off. They procrastinate. And I did a live, I don't know, a few days ago on this subject where, I talked about procrastination. The two main reasons why people procrastinate is low self-confidence relative to the task at hand. They don't feel competent doing it. They don't feel good when they're doing it. They don't feel that they're good at doing what they're doing. So then they don't do it, or they don't experience joy or pleasure or happiness doing whatever it is that they're about to do. So then they also put it off. So just as a recap, if whether you caught that one last week or not. But it's yeah, okay. So if you put, let's say you're in sales, you're in business, you're in network marketing, you're whatever, you're in real estate, you're in whatever you're in, and you're procrastinating on the activity that is going to make you the money. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. If we're talking about selling in general, selling multi-level, direct sales, real estate, insurance, financial planning, and building a book of business, outside sales, whatever it is, if you're not out there knocking on doors, I'm surprised my dogs didn't bark when I did that. Knocking on doors, making calls, doing reach outs, whatever, you're never going to build the book of business. You're never going to build the business. So okay, the first lack of result is going to be, okay, I'm not making money. I'm not, growing my book of business. The second thing is, what's that doing to your, your self-esteem? Now they're barking. Fernando's finally like, oh, it's a delayed bark. It took 4 minutes to get the bark to go downstairs. I know that wasn't 4 minutes. So, but it's like, okay, so now I'm like, I've put it off and I've put it off and I've put it off. And it's just like, you as a human being become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It's like you become even less significant, not necessarily to others, but it's like your own self-worth deteriorates. And that can't be, that can't be good for any kind of long-term personal growth, personal development, if you've created this self-defeating situation where you're just always putting it off. And you started here and all excited, and then you put it off and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off, and you got smaller and smaller and smaller. That's costly. That's a heavy burden. That's a heavy weight. But the other part of it is, and I did a live, I think it was yesterday. I don't remember. Let me take a quick sip of coffee here. The other cost is the cost to your personal relationships, whether it's your spouse, your significant other, your children, your friends. It's like one of, and I know, I think I was pretty confident I did this yesterday. I mean, days blend into one another, so whatever. So one of the greatest fears people have, and as I'm saying this, I'm realizing it was yesterday morning. One of the greatest fears people have is they are afraid to reach out to individuals, let's say in their, in network marketing terminology. Actually, this would be in insurance terminology, or, almost any other term. Warm market is not exclusive to network marketing. Okay. Warm market defines anybody that you currently have a relationship with. Like if I was going to open up a pizza joint, first thing I would do is I go through my whole Rolodex. Some of you guys need to Google what Rolodex is. In fact, go ahead and do that later if you don't know what that is, and you'll figure it out. And you would call your friend and say, hey man, I'm starting this pizza joint. We're opening up on Monday the 15th. I'd love for you to come and join us and have a slice and, check it out. I mean, that would be warm market marketing, right? You're reaching out to people that And what's really interesting is, this is another thought, right? So you'll do that with a pizza joint. Like most people would have no problem saying, hey, I opened up a pizza joint, I opened up a laundromat, I opened up this, that, or the other, and tell all their friends about it. And the funny thing is, and be totally, in fact, I was with a guy in South Africa. Oh man, what's his name? I'm going to space out on his name. Strachan. I was just Kraken Strachan. And he was talking, we were driving through in Durban, South Africa. I was there on a speaking tour. And he's like, man, I think he was a financial planner guy, and he was a very successful financial planning guy. And he goes, it's funny because I opened up a pizza joint, and it cost me like 80 grand to open up this pizza joint. And all my friends are like, hey man, how's the pizza joint going? And blah, blah, blah. And they're all curious. And he's going broke. He's like literally making no money. Ended up closing the pizza joint because it didn't work out for him. But then he got involved in network marketing. And nobody ever asked him, hey, how's your network marketing business going? Nope. He goes like, I can't believe it. He goes like, I opened up the pizza joint, it cost me 80 grand plus all the other money I had to put into it. I ended up having to close the doors. All my friends, all my buddies that knew me through financial planning are like, hey man, how's that going? And nobody ever asked me, how's my network marketing business going? I kind of find that, I find that fascinating. I'm like, well, some people just don't understand. They don't get it. But again, going back to this point of like procrastinating and putting stuff off, one of the greatest fears people have, and this is perfect as I segue into this. One of the greatest fears people have is, okay, I'm afraid to reach out to this person that I know because I don't want them to, and I'll use the term, I don't really believe in rejection, but they reject me just to make it easier for people. They reject me. They're not going to be my friend. They're like, why, they no longer want to hang out with me. They ghost me now. They blow me off. I'm not invited to the parties anymore. I'm no longer accepted anymore, whatever it is. So they don't reach out to those people because they fear that if they were to go do so, then, they would lose a friend. And honestly, I said this yesterday. It's like, dude, if you lose a friend because you brought them a network marketing business, are they truly your friend anyhow? I don't think so. And again, a real friend, they don't have to buy your product. They don't have to do business with you. But at the very least, what they would do is they would say, hey, man, good job. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. They would support you on your journey, regardless of whether they supported you by giving you money, buying product from you. That's not a requirement. So what people do is they blow it off. They blow people off. And here's the other thing. It's not like over time, your friends are not going to come to the realization that you're doing some business, whether you approach them or not. Word travels fast, especially, word travels fast, like in the network marketing community, but word travels extremely fast in a much tighter, smaller community, like your friend group and your primary and your secondary and your tertiary friend groups. And they're going to know that you're doing some deal, some business. And so here's the other problem. And this is, some of you guys either know people or you can personally relate to this. It's like if you put stuff off and you procrastinate over an extended period of time, then not only is it costing you money because you didn't do it, it's costing you, it's costing you self-worth. It's diminishing your self-worth because you're getting angry at yourself and upset at yourself because you keep putting this thing off and it's so silly. I'm putting this thing up. Why do I say I want it, but then I don't do it and I keep putting it off? But then the cost is even higher with your spouse and with your friends because they're like, dude, how's that thing doing? Now you're on to the next one, or you're on to the next one, and you're on to the next one. And that wears on people. So, it's like, especially like also if you have an unsupportive spouse, and this is pretty common. If you have an unsupportive spouse, men are the worst about this. Like, seriously, women don't typically do this. Men, dudes, don't do this to your ladies, man. This is weak. You're a weak man if you do this to your woman. Okay. So if you and look, direct selling is dominated by females. I don't know the exact number. Let's just call it 70+% of all the people that are involved as independent representatives in the direct selling business model are women. Women rule the world, and that is a fact. And so, dudes, if you're sitting there like, hey, honey, I'll give you enough leash, a 90-day leash for you to go play with your little network marketing business. And, after 90 days, if you're not making money, then, I'm going to pull back on the financial reins and, not allow you to use the family working capital to grow that business. That's lame, man. That's weak. Pathetic. You need to go look in the mirror if that's you. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. Regardless if it's a man or a woman, if you have an unsupportive spouse, the best, and look, they don't understand it. They're not with you. They haven't been to the meetings. They haven't been to the presentations. They haven't seen what you saw. In fact, I know I'm going on a little tangent here, but it's a worthy tangent. If you go look at a business and it's just you, and I think it would be good to have buy-in from your spouse. They don't have to go do it with you, but like they should know what you're involved in. It's like, it would be weird. Like, okay, you're like, you live with your person and you're in here. I'm in my office and I'm sneaking this little business and my wife doesn't know about it. That wouldn't be very cool. That's not like an open communication relationship. And, and so I would rather have her, whether she builds a business with me or not. Just so you know, like my wife is, I've been in network marketing 35 years. She's never been in and building a business with me, like recruiting and doing all of that. She's been my greatest supporter through both my speaking career and my in the field career. But she's never built it with me. But she's been my greatest cheerleader, greatest supporter, not greatest detractor and greatest person who's like, hey, why are you doing this? You're taking time away from the family. And there's a lot of this that goes on. So the cost is this. If you, especially if you're, okay, I'm going to stick on the marriage thing for a second, or the significant other thing for a second. If you're in a network marketing business and you're procrastinating, it is damaging your relationship with your spouse or your significant other. Because all they're seeing is this. They're seeing you in this business. You're up here in the office spending all this time in this business, and you're not bringing home the bacon. Okay, I haven't eaten bacon in 2 months, by the way. Am I shaking? No, I'm still good. I love bacon, but I'm not eating it. So you're sitting there and you're putting it off, but you're spending time away from the family, and they're not seeing the proof in the pudding, or the fact that you're not bringing home the bacon, you're not bringing home money, and all they see you is spending time away from the family. And you come in here, like, this is my office. I come in here and I just do everything but the thing I need to do. So I'm spending hours and hours and hours away from my family in here producing nothing. That is going to damage your relationship. So the cost, honestly, the fact that you don't make any money in your network marketing business, or whatever it is that you're procrastinating on, if we're talking about business, yeah, okay, that who knows? That's a cost. Let's just call it a cost, whether it's minimal or maximal, whether it's a small cost or, a future large cost. But the cost is worse. You end up getting divorced because you're in here screwing around, messing around with something. You're not treating it seriously. You're not, stepping up to the plate and going, I'm going to actually do this thing. It's costing the relationship with your kids. It's costing the relationship with your friends. It's costing the relationship with your spouse. It's costing the relationship with lots of other people. So you sit there and think, oh, what's another day of me putting off my business? You're sitting here spinning your wheels, wasting your time, doing everything but the thing that you need to be doing. And it's not just costing you money. Now, the other thing is, the other from a perceptual standpoint, the cost. Yeah. Okay. So here's what people do. They justify. Okay. Accountability is up here, and then there's a line, and then everything below that line is just justifying, blaming, and shaming. We need to live in an accountability phase. Okay. Accountability is where, if it is to be, it's up to me. I take full responsibility for where I am, the results that I'm achieving. I don't blame it on my spouse, the weather, the economy, inflation, the company owners, the product colors, the logo. You got to go, like, if it is to be, it's up to me. And if you're up here, and look, I know I'm being pretty direct this morning, but you guys already know that's just the way I roll. That if you're putting stuff off, it's costing you gravely. Yeah, it's costing you money. You're justifying. You're like, what's the big deal? I haven't made any money yet. Anyhow, I made $50 this month. It's not really costing me. Well, okay, from a perception standpoint, it's not just, you're not losing out on linear income. You're losing out on the compounded effect of those efforts over time because of the nature of the business that you're involved in. You're not in I work 4 hours, I get paid for 4 hours. I work 8, I get paid 8. You work in a business, if we're talking specifically network marketing, a business that has leverage, which is based on the movement of goods and services through a network of independent distributors that grows over time. And unfortunately, there's no way to calculate what the future revenue could be based on today's efforts and energies that are put forth in the business. You can't calculate. It's an incalculable number. Like, you don't know if, like, I bring Joe in and Joe isn't that great, but Joe brings Susie in and Susie blows it up and does $1 million a month in volume. You don't know, because you don't have a crystal ball. And so you're sitting there procrastinating, thinking, oh, yeah, it's costing you money, but then it's costing you, again, self-esteem, self-worth. You're shrinking as a human being. Your soul is shrinking as a human being. And then because you're blowing it off, your friends are like, oh, you're talking about how that business was doing all great and all that. In fact, even if you had I won't say it, the intestinal fortitude, even if you had the intestinal fortitude to go talk to those human beings and they said no for whatever reason, and then you're just dilly-dallying around, they're like going, bro, what's up? How's that business going? You've been in it for a year, or now you're in the 7th one. And then when it comes, again, going back to the spouse here for a second, as I put a bow on this thing, it's like, and by the way, if you do have an unsupportive spouse, the best thing that you can do is go like this, put your blinders on, get focused, do the right activities, become disciplined, become consistent, work on your skills, develop your confidence, and get after it. And the funny thing is men, I'm talking to the dudes for a second. Dudes, if your lady is involved in network marketing, don't you dare do this. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've seen it happen far too many times. You got a woman in the business, and she's like, she goes out, she builds a business. She retires her husband. She gets you guys to like 30, let's call it 30 grand a month. Okay. Making 30 grand a month. Oh, dude doesn't have to work anymore. Whether he was supportive or not in the beginning or not, she retired you, and you've never done a damn thing. You've never recruited a single person. You never sold a single product. You never did nothing. Zero. Now, the national conference is coming up. And let's say I'll just use it. It's Sandra and Bob Smith, okay? And Sandra did all the work. And now you're showing up for the national conference because she's going to get some accolades and some big award. And you're going to go, hey, when we get up on stage to accept that award that we won, she won it, not you. Dude, you didn't do anything. It's not Bob and Sandra Smith. It's Sandra and Bob Smith, okay? I've seen this happen where I'm like watching the guy walk up on stage. I'm like, that guy's never recruited anybody. Not a single solitary soul. He's up there walking across the stage as if he did something. He didn't do jack diddly. His wife did 100% of the work, and now he's taking credit for it. Now, I know I went on a little tangent on that one, but just don't do that, man. That's just lame. Let your lady get the limelight. And you should be man enough to be like, hey, you know what? It doesn't have to be Todd and Carla. If Carla was the one that made all the money, it would be Carla and Todd. And I'm just going up there as a guy that was, hopefully supporting and encouraging my wife along the way, not being the dude who's like, oh, honey, you got 90 days of credit card money before I cut you off. Yeah, that one pisses me off a little bit. And by the way, real quick, you guys, just so you know, you can end the procrastination. In fact, my A team, my last 12-week, 90-day accountability program of 2024 starts, not today, next Monday. So if you think you could be doing more, you want to be doing more, you want to step up your game, you want to be more consistent, you want to stop procrastinating and come to the realization it ain't just costing you money. Money, yeah, it's important that it's costing you money, but it's costing you relationships. It could cost you your marriage. It's costing you the relationship that you have with your children, because you're in here spending hours and hours a day playing video games or whatever the hell you're doing, everything but the thing that you need to be doing to make money, when you could be, you can make a choice of, I'm either going to do this business, not dilly-dally in the business, you're going to do the business, or you're going to spend time with your kids. And, we live in a world right now where so many parents, unfortunately, don't spend time with their children, and they are our future. Our kids need to be loved on, cared on, taken care of. We need to pay attention to our children. So, you know what? And the cool thing is, when you get network marketing going right, and honestly, everything I'm saying could apply to pretty much anything in any kind of productivity environment. The rewards are going to far outweigh any of the pain, frustration, or anguish. And honestly, I think the pain of procrastination and the challenges that presents to you is far greater than the frustrations and the challenges that you would go through and trying to figure it out and getting past your fears. So again, A-Team is my signature 90-day program. It's the longest standing group coaching program in the network marketing space. If you're in insurance sales, you can come and do it. If you're in like, insurance is very similar to network marketing. Somebody asked me the other day, hey, would this work for my insurance business? Yeah, because you're out there selling stuff and you are recruiting other agents typically. And I mean, if you're in real estate too, like, there's a handful of real estate companies that are essentially set up like a network marketing company. So this would be good for you too. But it's specifically designed for people in the network marketing space. I'd love to have you. Registrations are going to close pretty soon, but don't procrastinate on this one. And here's the thing, it works out to be $25 a week for 12 weeks. And if you can't afford $25 a week for 12 weeks, something desperately needs to change in your business. Sorry to be so blunt, but honestly, that's probably 2 Big Macs now with inflation. So you shouldn't be eating Big Macs anyhow. It's not good for you. All right. So you can see the details on the screen, toddfalcone.com/team, TEAM. And I hope you have a great Monday. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you. Thanks for being here.